Just had an update of our security policies. That's all it was. No votes were taken. Okay. So personnel action, resignation, leave of absence of superintendent of schools. It's a leave of absence.
I'll make a motion to accept the superintendent's request for a leave of absence.
Second.
Oh, I have a question. How does a medical leave of absence differ from taking sick days?
Has the superintendent requested a specific amount of time?
Yes.
Yes.
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6. I'll give you
4
the
to
letter.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
No, he says that I will be out of work for approximately 4 to
Right.
6 weeks.
Is
The doctor says he's okay after 4 weeks, he can
Comes
assume
back.
he will
Right.
return.
But is this different
I don't really
based on a
think it is
contract other
legally.
than just taking sick days until he's able to return?
He could just take the sick days if he chose to. It's really a matter of notifying you.
Right.
It's almost a
Okay.
courtesy, saying,
Okay.
this is what is
Right.
anticipated by my physician, so
Okay.
it's,
Thank you.
Okay, do I have any other questions? All those in favor? Thank you. New business, procedures regarding superintendent's absence and discussion of interim superintendent position.
So my understanding, I guess Steve and Manny, that superintendent has sort of already, one of you is going to be covering the middle school, high school, one of you is sort of going to be covering the elementary school as far as parent issues, correct? Okay. And so then I guess the only other concern, and you may have discussed this last time, I don't know, is just.
We didn't discuss anything,
Oh,
we
you
waited
didn't
for
discuss
you.
anything.
No.
Okay, so it is just, and I guess that would be the need for the interim or acting or whatever we're going to call it, is just to make sure that we do have that one person in case there's an emergency or even if something needs to be signed.
Right, that kind of
quickly,
thing. Yeah.
that kind of thing. I mean, I know through correspondence, one way with us, not among us, but just from him, the superintendent to us, he's made it very clear that he's going to be available via email or phone.
Definitely. Mhm.
So really, I think the need for an acting would be just really so that we do have that one person that can
To go to,
act if we need
right.
him to, in any sort of a quick, where we need a quick turnaround or something.
And I guess my question would be, is there a difference between an acting superintendent and an interim? For example, would an acting superintendent perhaps also have another job within the district, but be our acting superintendent in terms of signature reports or emergency, whereas an interim means that's somebody whose only job is being the superintendent?
So interim means that one person resigned and it takes time to
Yeah,
find
well,
a new person, so this is basically just to cover the
Well, I was
the gap.
asking
And acting
Mr.
is-
Robinson, is the difference, like when
it's
acting
almost
superintendent?
semantics. I mean, I agree with Jan's
Right, that's
position on
well
it.
defined, an
But-
interim.
We looked, there's very little in the general laws
Mm-hmm.
about disability of superintendents. The one clear thing is, as Deb was saying, you need to have a certified person in the position. Now,
Mm.
whether you can have superintendents who take care of 2 towns or 3 towns, if you chose to by law. So I guess you could call it acting, or you could call it interim for the 6 weeks, but the purpose is really to have someone with the certificate who has the legal responsibilities of a superintendent during this period.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm answering Carol or not, but
I guess I prefer the term acting.
Yeah,
Acting.
me too.
But I think that's what it gets to, is that we have someone who's got the legal responsibility with the appropriate certification or qualification or what have you,
appointed by the school committee.
appointed by the school committee, so that, I don't anticipate that, to the extent that Bill can be involved in helping sort of continue to run the district, he wouldn't do that, but I don't want him to, first of all, have that responsibility and authority. And then I also think that for both the staff and for student safety, we actually need to have someone who, is designated the person to have, to fulfill that role in his absence. So I don't know if Mr. Pizzetta or Mr. Cabral, you had you guys had, I thought, had wanted to update us a little bit about what you were doing thus far, or how you thought it would work best.
Yeah, I think it was kind of what Mrs. Polish was alluding to. I was going to back up Mr. Cabral at Ranger regarding support issues. Mr. Cabral was going to back up the elementary schools for support issues, and I would back up the middle school for support. And that's pretty much the end of the line of communication, and also all of the principals agreed that we won't obviously work in isolation. We'll always be involved in communication in matters that we think we need to do.
So does anyone in the district have certification to be the acting
I
superintendent?
think two of you don't.
So Mr. Cabral
Most of you have.
and
And Suzette.
Suzette Mann.
Not me.
You sure? And if we appointed someone internally, obviously that person's job doesn't go away either. We would need to make some accommodation, I would expect, for whoever was the
Right.
interim or acting superintendent to have their administrative responsibilities at least assisted with.
Typically, yes, two things. Typically, I've been through enough of these over the years in various places. Typically, if you have someone within, the school committee makes some monetary
I see.
Compensation is
adjustment
provided.
for assuming additional responsibilities. And depending on advice you get from your educators and whatnot, you may find you need additional administrative assistance of some sort. But that would be totally internal to.
Right. Okay.
All right, so then I guess we can move to 2A then.
2A is a possible appointment of, you said you wanted to change the word?
Oh, I think
Acting.
acting, because I
Acting.
would agree with you on that interim,
Want to take
it
out
sort of says that you're,
Put acting in.
it's the end of one. yeah.
Right,
I mean,
acting.
I think it's semantics, but I think it's
More comfortable with that.
better with the
Okay.
word.
And I think, given the relatively short leave of absence, we would be better served by appointing someone already within the
Oh,
district.
definitely, yeah. Would be a smoother transition.
By the time the search is over,
Oh,
well, by the time the search started.
I agree.
he'll be back in the seat where he belongs. That'll be fabulous. Yeah. Do I have a motion?
So I'd make a motion to appoint Mr. Cabral as
Second?
the acting superintendent.
Any more questions or comments? Does anybody else have any questions? Nobody? Okay. All in favor? Okay.
Right. My only follow-up question then would be, would we need additional help at Ranger? Do you think that?
I would think that at some point we need to sit down administratively as a team to
Right.
see how we're going to, the amount of time that's going to be expected downstairs at the superintendent's office and
Right.
what needs to happen at Ranger.
Right, we don't want to leave Ranger short-staffed, in
Correct.
other words.
Do you have an assistant principal?
Not
No, not at the elementary.
Not elementary.
Mrs. Fraser.
We'll talk.
So you'd like-
Why don't you talk, if you
Right.
need anything, we're
Yeah.
here, we can meet within 48 hours if you need us.
You
to
let us know
appoint
what you
someone
need,
or-
really. Would you be willing to accept it, by the way?
Yes, I will.
That would be nice if we asked. It's like, okay. Thank you, that's very good.
There's no.
Yeah, right. Well, one thing I will say, Bill's been in contact with us right from the beginning of the school year. Emails, conversations, and we'll keep that conversation going.
Oh, definitely. He's sent,
Administratively, we've been meeting
Right.
with principals and director of, and our directors, maintenance director as well as our technology director, just to make sure that we're operating and, things are running smoothly.
well, you've all been working as a team, which you always do, with Mr. Eric, and that's wonderful.
And I know where we don't have a curriculum director, that.
Yeah, there's another little hole there.
Even
Yeah.
keep it
But
short,
that,
but yeah.
that's going to be probably one of our priorities as far as coming up with a plan for that. But
Yeah.
So you guys just, yeah, let us know.
Let us know what you need, and then
Can
we'll
certainly meet.
all work together with Mr. Eric, and we'll get through this like we always do. Thank you very much.
Would the committee like to put an agenda item for the next meeting for compensation?
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe you could look into what the typical
practices,
customary
sure.
practices and sort of advise us in that regard.
Have a recommendation, sure.
Thank you.
Okay?
Motion for adjournment.
Yep.
I make a
move to
mo,
adjourn.
second.
All those in favor? And thank you, Mr. Robinson. Everyone have a nice Labor Day weekend. Stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Cabral.